Hi, book besties. Welcome back, or welcome to my channel. As you can see from the thumbnail, today I'm going to be doing the booktube newbie tag, which I've been really excited to film. As you can see, I have so many books to talk about today. So I started my booktube account. Ooh, when did I start my booktube account? It was this year. I'll just say that. I don't know who started this trend in the first place. I got the questions from Olive's Book Nooks video, which she's amazing also. You should go check her out. So I tried really hard not to repeat different books or different series for these questions, but there is some overlap, I'm not gonna lie to you. First of all, because I've really only just started getting back into reading. Like, I really loved reading when I was a kid, but only recently in the past year and a half have I been actively picking up books regularly again. So I don't have a ton of books under my belt, but I did my best. Let's get started on these questions. Let's just jump right in so you guys can get to know me. The first question is, what are the books that got you into reading? I could say a few things for this. My cat. So if we're talking about my childhood would be a different answer. For this, I'm gonna answer it as if we're talking about 30-year-old me last year picking up books again. What got me back into reading. And I will say that this book didn't exactly get me back into it. I think really just kind of all of the hype around books in the book talk community is really what got me back into reading. Because the first few books that I read once I was back into reading weren't that memorable, to be honest. But the book that really caught my attention and really kept me going was Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This was my first adult fantasy and it kind of blew my mind. I will say that this isn't my favorite book since getting back into reading and reading fantasies, but this just opened doors for me. And I believe when I read this, I rated it a 4 stars, and I think I still stick with that. I really enjoyed this. I really especially enjoyed the dragons. I liked the characters. I did think that there was way too much practice fighting scenes for me. Again, if you've watched my videos, again with the classroom setting scenes, anything that's set in a classroom is kind of hard for me to get through. And there was a lot in this one, but honestly, the action in this and the dragons is really what kept me hooked, and I loved it so much. The next question is, what book genres do you read the most? And I would say that I read fantasy and fiction the most. I just love fantasy. I think fantasy is my absolute favorite genre. And for some reason, I just tend to gravitate to literary fiction books as well. Next is, what are the genres you read the least? And for this, I said horror/sci-fi. I would definitely read more horror if I could take it. I have nothing against horror besides the fact that it will keep me up at night. It truly will. I will literally be trying to sleep with my eyes open all night long if I read horror books. And honestly, I love being spooked. I love a good scary movie. I love that adrenaline feeling, but I don't like the aftermath of me being actually terrified for a week straight. So I don't generally pick up horror. I might pick it up here and there, but I usually gravitate more towards thrillers if I'm looking for something like that. And sci-fi, I again have nothing against sci-fi. It's just that I don't really like science. I don't really like sciencey stuff. I'm not really interested in a lot of science talk. I end up skipping a lot of it because I don't understand the science talk and I don't really care to. Next is, what is the book you tell everyone is your favorite? And for this, I have to say A Court of Wings and Ruin. Since I got back into reading, this is number one. Number one right here. Nothing can top this. I don't know what it is. And A Court of Mist and Fury comes in right next to it, but something about ACOWAR I just absolutely devoured. I could not get enough of it. I was flipping pages so fast. What is a book that you have reread the most? Okay, for this, it's kind of cheating, well, not really cheating, but I haven't reread a lot of books. I haven't reread any books, actually. This is the only book that I've actually reread, and I reread it from my childhood. So I read this in childhood, and then I reread it a few months back. And that is The Magician's Nephew, but mostly just the first couple books of the Chronicles of Narnia series. I specifically love this one the most, though, so far. I just finished the third one, and I hope to get to the fourth and fifth one by the end of the year. But yeah, this is the only book I've ever reread, you guys. I'm pretty sure. At least in my adulthood, this is the only book I've ever reread so far, because I've only really been on my journey for a short while. What is a book that you loved that everyone else didn't? I feel like this is a little bit controversial. Maybe not. I don't know. And this isn't to say that I absolutely adored this book. I gave it a 4 stars, so I really liked it, but I wouldn't say that I'm like obsessed and love it. I know most people do not like it, or do not like it as much as the first one, and that is Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. Yes, this did not have as much romance. I can say that. It's definitely more fantasy and plot based. But if I'm being honest, I really think that I like that more in my books. I like action, being on the edge of my seat. That is what I love the most about books, is being on the edge of my seat. And this definitely gave me that feeling. I gave both this one and Divine Rivals a 4 stars because I understand why people think they are like so different from each other, because they really are. Divine Rivals almost seems like a completely different genre than this. Like this seems more like fantasy, and Divine Rivals is more like romantasy, but heavy on the romance. More like magical realism almost. So if you're a romance reader, then you would love Divine Rivals, and then if you read this one, you'd probably be like, eh. Like there was a teeny bit of romance, but really not a lot. But I still think I like this one more than Divine Rivals, because I actually was hoping and expecting Divine Rivals to be a little bit more plot heavy, and it was more romance heavy than I expected. So I almost feel like I had like the opposite idea about these books that everyone else had. Like when I went into it, I thought it was going to be more fantasy plot heavy and less like romantic. So I was disappointed like slightly by Divine Rivals because of that expectation, but then I got my expectation with this book. So a book that deserved the hype. So I read this, I think I read this last month. Yeah, I read this last month, and that book is Project Hail Mary. This is appropriately hyped. Again, I know I just said I don't read sci-fi really, but I did really like this book. I did not like all of the science talk, but it was so wholesome, and I loved the characters so much. And I just loved the ending of this book, just how everything wrapped up and turned out. I just loved it so much. So I definitely think that this is appropriately hyped. A book you read the fastest. So I read this month. I haven't done my wrap up on it yet, so I'm not going to go into full detail. If you want to know all of my thoughts, then go to my wrap up at the end of the month. But that is And Then There Were None by Agatha Christie. I devoured this in 2 days, I think. Yeah, 2 days, which is fast for me. I know people can read books in like one sitting, but I loved it and I read it so fast. A book that deserves more hype. If you guys follow me on my socials, you know that I literally don't shut up about this book, but that is The Book Eaters by Sunyi Dean. I desperately want more people to read this. This book is so good. If you are like a fairy tale kind of person, but also like a dark fairy tale kind of person, you absolutely need to pick this up. I'm begging you. This is a dark fairy tale, in my opinion. This is extremely atmospheric. I would go so far to say that this is actually the most atmospheric book I've ever read so far since getting back into reading. I just don't see this anywhere. I've seen it like a couple times, and I just feel like people really need to read this, in my opinion. A book you usually recommend when asked. Okay, we're gonna start overlapping, guys. I'm sorry, but I always, hands down, no matter who, no matter what, recommend ACOTAR. Every time, guys, every single time I'm gonna recommend this because I really feel like if you aren't a fantasy reader, it's really easy to get into this world. This is like a super easy fantasy world, but also the romance is so freaking good. I absolutely love it. So yeah, I am going to continue to recommend this series. I know that it's kind of a long one, but in my opinion, it's so worth it. Next is a book you thought you would hate. This is so funny because I don't really gravitate to romance a lot. It's not that I don't like the genre. It's just that, like, I guess I would rather be reading like a fantasy. Like I said, I just love that like fast-paced, edge of my seat feeling when I'm reading. So I kind of chase that feeling a little bit, and that's always kind of more of like fantasy thriller. But when I do pick up romance, I'm usually pleased. So a book that I thought, not that I would hate it, because I don't pick up books that I think I'm gonna hate. Sorry guys, I'm literally losing my mind with my bangs right now. I didn't think I was gonna hate this, but I did not expect to like this as much as I do at all. And that's People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. And I know that this is actually a lot of people's least favorite Emily Henry. I have read 3 Emily Henrys so far, and this tops them. This tops them all the time. The banter, amazing. I love friends to lovers. Alex in this? Oh God, someday I will meet my Alex, hopefully. It's so sweet, so heartwarming. The banter is absolutely amazing. I was laughing and crying and everything. I just absolutely loved this. And I just did not expect that, because usually rom-coms are sitting somewhere in like the 3 or 3.25 range for me. A book that made you cry. I'm going to be so obvious. You guys can probably guess if you're in the book world what I'm about to say, but A Little Life by Hanya Yanagihara. This is my most annotated book. It is crazy annotated. I don't know if I will ever read this again. I'll say that. I literally sobbed with this book. Like everyone else. Like, there's no way that you're reading this without crying. I'm sorry. That's just the way it is. Guys, I'm totally gonna grow out my bangs because I am so freaking annoyed with them right now. I feel like every time I have them down, I'm so annoyed with them, and I hate it because I love the look of them, but I would definitely exercise caution. Check the trigger warnings for this if you're thinking about reading it. This is not for the faint of heart. A book I wish I could read again, and I will read again. Again, overlapping guys, but Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I know a lot of people didn't like this sequel either, but this has been my top book of the entire year so far. And I read this back in January. I know people think that Violet is whiny and that the romance was lacking or annoying, but like I said before, plot wise and like action wise, this was so good. This was like on the same level as Akawar and Akamath. Like the suspense and the action, I don't know. This was just so good for me, and I will be rereading it probably actually soon, because Onyx Storm, I believe, comes out in January. So I'm going to do a reread of both Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. A book with my favorite characters. Guys, I think this is the last time I'm going to overlap. Akamath. I didn't pick Akatar because I feel like my favorite characters show up in this one, obviously, as we all know. The Inner Circle. I wish they were my family. I could cry. Love them so much. A world you wish you could live in. It's got to be Harry Potter, you guys. Ever since I read this when I was like 12 or however old I was, I needed my Hogwarts letter just like the rest of us, okay? Everybody wants their Hogwarts letter. Obviously, I would love to live in this world if it was like peaceful with no Voldemort. But yeah, I still freaking wish that I could live inside of these pages. I wish that I could just curl up right inside there. A book to cure a reading slump. If you are a fantasy girly, to cure your reading slump, I swear to God, you need to pick up Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. Actually, I was in a pretty big slump when I started this because I read Fable beforehand, and that book is very dense. And so it put me into a little bit of a slump, and this immediately took me right out of it. I'm telling you guys, this again, if you're a girly that loves like action and suspense and like, oh, what's gonna happen next, but also topics of like culture and history and magic, it was just, this is so amazing, and I am definitely going to pick up Bloodmarked probably next month because I literally can't wait. Except I'm going to be disappointed when I have to wait for the third book. But I just can't wait. I loved every single one of these characters. So yeah, calling all fantasy girlies, you need to read this if you're in a slump. Or just in general, please. A book that everyone should read. I'm going to talk about Educated by Tara Westover. I know some people aren't into memoirs or nonfiction, but Tara Westover's story was so gripping, shocking, devastating. I don't know, I just feel like people need to read this, honestly. It's just crazy, and it's so inspiring too. Like, she was in such a bad place in her childhood, and she just pulled herself right out of there and made something of herself. I just remember reading this and being like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of her. So yeah, definitely a must read. Even if you're not normally into memoirs, like if you like lit fic, you will like her story. Her childhood and her whole story is almost like a fiction story. It's crazy. We're getting closer to the end, you guys. A book that would make a great movie. The second that I slammed this book shut after reading it, I was like, okay, immediately on my computer, I was like, okay, there's got to be a movie for this. Like, this would make the best movie ever. I did find an article that said that they were going to be working on putting a movie together, but I haven't heard anything about it. But I would absolutely love to see this as a movie, and that's City of Girls by Elizabeth Gilbert. One of my top reads of this year. This is literary fiction. Absolutely amazing. I love this. It was 5 stars for me. I absolutely adored every single character in this. And as I was reading this, it was like a movie in my mind, which like a lot of the times when I read books, they are like that anyways, but I can see this being like a super popular movie. It's just like the characters were so amazing. I would love to see people act as these characters. I think maybe because it's like already, it's in like showbiz. Like, I think this was giving me like Burlesque vibes. I feel like Burlesque has the same vibes as this. And Burlesque was a great movie in my opinion, and I just feel like this would be too. The last 2 questions. A book you wish everyone would give a shot. Easily, that is Dracula by Bram Stoker. This is a classic. I know a lot of people don't read classics, but if you are a vibes girly, especially during spooky season, oh my gosh, I did not read this during spooky season. I read this in March, but this is another one of those books where like the vibes are absolutely immaculate. It is a little bit slow. It is a little bit like hard to read and get into, but I think if you take your time, this really had me hooked, honestly. I wish that more people would give it a try because it's honestly so cool also to see like the backstory of Dracula, because there's so much like Dracula related content out there and vampire content, and I feel like all of that content just stems from this original Dracula, and it was just so cool for me to see just where it all stems from. But also the book was just so good. I don't know how else to explain it. It was very vibey, mysterious, also had me on the edge of my seat. I just loved it. And the very last book that I have for this video, you guys, is a book you will never forget, and that is The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. This really just started like a whole slew of dystopian books in its time, but nothing has ever come close to beating it. Like, no dystopian that is similar to Hunger Games will ever beat Hunger Games. And obviously, I'll never forget it. This was a 5-star read for me. I love the series. The whole series is a 5-star series for me. And I will never forget it, ever. it has a special place in my heart. And that's it, you guys. I hope that you guys were able to kind of learn more about my book tastes with this video. Maybe you got some recommendations. This was really fun. I liked this video a lot. If you guys liked it, please like and comment and subscribe. I love to chat with you guys in the comments. If you have any answers for these questions that you feel like you want to talk about, I would love to hear your answers to these questions. I would love it if you guys would subscribe and watch more of my videos if you enjoyed this. I'm also a mom of 2, and I'm working really hard to push all of my content and my YouTube stuff out there because I love doing this. Plus, it would be amazing if I could support my babies with this channel eventually. I'm gonna link all of the books in this video down below if you'd like to check them out. Also, my socials are down below if you'd like to check those out as well. But yeah, guys, I hope this gave you an idea of what kind of books I like, and maybe we have the same tastes. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!